Kamala Harris, she's running for the vice presidency. I call her Miss Lock Up Her Brother. For when she was the AG in California, a Negro knew, a black man knew that he was dead in the water. He was dead in the water. Matter of fact, you don't need a trial. You might well go into jail if you appear before her, because she took pride in locking up black folk. And now all of a sudden she's trying to be sister girl. I'm telling it. Check out her record. She locked us up left and right. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, you did, Kamala, however I should pronounce it. You did. And now we're supposed.
So yeah, now you want to be sister girl. You got a lot of folks in the black community who feel like this pastor, Bishop Patrick Wooden. This video is like 3 years old, and it's all over the internet. I say it's all over the internet. And this is one of the situations that Kamala, Joe Biden, and the Democratic Party are going to have to overcome. And this is a reality, people. It's one thing to put your head in the sand and hide from reality. It's another thing to look at it like it was. Your past sometimes will dictate your future. Now, I'm going to try to be fair as possible. I'm going to show you some things. So you're going to see this, but I also want you to know there is something going to go down in the future. Snoop Dogg will carry the torch coming up in Paris. Now, last week, I did a video live where I talked about iPad Go 3. In there, I believe I did show the Eiffel Tower. If I didn't, I watched so much videos last week. I thought I did, but either way, when I heard about Snoop Dogg going to Paris and carrying the torch, I thought about two things. I thought about three. I thought about Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre being in the Olympics, being in the Super Bowl halftime show a few years ago with Pepsi Cola. I also thought about, well, in that video, man, it's just so much. In that video, when they came on in the Pepsi halftime show, it showed like a meteor coming down on the ground. And I believe it was blowing up the Bronx. So that's one of the first things I thought about. And the second thing I thought about was iPad Go 2, iPad Go 3, which I presented both of those videos in my live last week. In that, the Eiffel Tower was in there. And then the third thing I thought about, it escapes me right now. If it comes back, I'll go. But look, this is a lot of information, but stay tuned. I want you to go through the whole video because you don't want to miss out. Because possibly, there is an indication from iPad Go 3 that will go down in Paris. I stumbled upon it and I'm putting together and I'm saying it just might. So let's start out with this. Again, Kamala Harris, she's got to overcome this stigma. There's a stigma about her building her career as a DA, then later on, she became a senator, but building her career on being insensitive to black people, okay? Now check this out.
When Harris became the DA of San Francisco in 2004, tough on crime policy was popular around the country. Even Joe Biden, who was pivotal in getting the 1994 crime bill passed a decade earlier, carried his enthusiasm about cracking down into the 2000s.
Fewer police on the street preventing crime and protecting community means more crime. And it's as simple as that. It's not rocket science. We went through this whole debate during the 80s and 90s.
But Harris claims that in the 2000s, she didn't flex laws like 3 strikes. She said as DA, her policy was only to pursue a 3rd strike if the crime was serious or violent. And yet she remained proud that the felony conviction rate rose during her tenure.
When we're talking about serious and violent crime, lock them up. In San Francisco, in my office, we've increased the conviction rates for the DA's office to the highest they've been in just under 15 years.
But her attempt to brand smart on crime policy goes beyond those serious and violent crimes. According to Mercury News, she had more convictions on marijuana charges than her predecessor. But she rarely...
Again, she's got to overcome this stigma. That's going to be a Herculean challenge, a Herculean sale, because, of course, her history is speaking. If you do the research, I've known about it for such a long time. It doesn't mean that, you know, the people who did the crime, allegedly, just say allegedly, it doesn't mean that everybody who did a crime did a crime. In other words, look, back in the day, people are saying people got picked up, black and brown people, really all people, but majority black and brown people got picked up. They didn't do anything wrong. And now that marijuana is legal, you know, it's like, hey, can I get out early? But again, I want to be, I mean, look, she had the highest number on marijuana, though. It is what it is. So now let's look at this here. We have a gentleman here who literally went to prison and was falsely accused. And, well, Kamala Harris showed up twice in court, and according to him, she showed up basically to have, look, see what I did. So check this out. Innocent man going to prison. Watch this. So yeah, he spent 6.5 years. The police picked this guy up, right? The DA, police, detectives, nobody spoke to him, just picked him up, put him in jail. And look, Kamala Harris was DA at the time. And instead of her, according to him, allegedly didn't go deep enough to investigate. The police had, well, let me read you the story. San Francisco to pay $13.1 million to man framed by police for murder. March 20th, 2019, the story hit. San Francisco Board of Supervisors voted Tuesday to approve a $13.1 million settlement for a man framed by police for murder. Jamal Truelove is his name. Jamal Truelove spent more than 6 years in prison for a 2007 murder before being acquitted in a 2015 retrial. Now, what happened was that, according to Truelove, the policeman got this black lady to testify against him, saying that she basically witnessed it. But in his mind, you know, she really didn't witness it. She was forced, she went along with what the police asked her to do, is what he's saying. Right? Just crazy. He puts down, quote, "And trust me, I'm not done with them by a long shot." A profile appearing to be Truelove wrote on Twitter, quote, "After what these cowards of the law did to me, I will let my freedom ring through every platform I get to show what injustice really looks like to me." He sued in January 2016. In April of last year, a jury in Oakland found that 2 police officers on the case, wow, you see their names, right? Not gonna go into detail. There's their names, Maureen and Michael. Wow. Deliberately fabricated evidence and failed to disclose exemplary material. Isn't that something? And unfortunately, you know, again, the current vice president, now want to be president, Kamala Harris, according to him, didn't do her due diligence. And that was the word in the street back in the day. Like the minister said, if you black and you lived in that area, hey, you going to jail because, hey, folks are saying she built her career. Not the first time we heard that, right? Okay, so let's go to this next one. She is part of a fraternity and they're helping her out. So we're gonna get into this here in a second. Just give me, trying to get past this commercial, and then we'll go from there, okay? When you have a lot of windows open, this is what happens. So let's go into it. That's at the 105 mark. So the 105 mark, she has her sorority sisters giving her money, right? I believe $1 million to help her run for a campaign. Watch this.
We're also organizing and putting out support as well, trying to get as many people registered to vote as possible, raising money too. Harris is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, which recently helped raise more than $1 million for Harris's campaign. They did it after President Joe Biden announced his support for Harris Sunday following his announcement not to run for re-election. Action News spoke with the president of AKA's Omega chapter here in Philadelphia about what it means for them, for Harris to have now gained enough delegates to secure the nomination.
Yes, this is an amazing moment, not just for women of color. I think for women, period. Women have done a lot for this country. We continue to contribute, and yet and still in these great United States, we have not yet to have someone sit in that seat.
So it's possible she can get that position. Now, I was talking to a few friends of mine late last night. I was saying, you know what? I've been saying that Joe gonna get kicked out soon, or he just might meet his demise. Hint, hint. Then I was thinking, you know what? If I'm really running this thing behind the scenes, I'm gonna let Carmela build up some steam. Because if I do meet my demise, you know, you got everything going on, you know, at the Capitol, the Congress. Just read between the lines what I'm saying. If Joe gets in a serious situation where he's not out of the hospital, look, all eyes will be on Joe and less eyes on her. So I'm thinking they might wait a little while. Fate, whatever you want to call it, they might wait a little while. She got $81 million in one day and $100 million in 2 days. So hey, she rolling. Roller coaster. Say what? Wow. Remember that song back in the day? She rolling now. She rolling. Just thought I'd drop that out there. Now, I wanna put this out there. I taught you guys last week that Kamala means lotus flower. Now listen to this, because I want to ask the question. The lotus flower births and has rebirths. Will it birth the sun god Ra? Because that's what it does. Of one of many, but mainly the sun god Ra. Listen.
The lotus flower, symbol of birth and enlightenment. In ancient Egyptian creation stories, the sun god himself was born from a blue lotus flower that emerged from the primeval waters. And the flower itself can be identified with the great goddess who gives birth to the sun. Thus, the blue lotus becomes a general symbol of birth, enlightenment, and later it accounts for rebirth. And it is the emblem of the Kemetic god Nefertum. Its flowering buds only arise above the water and open their petals when the sun is shining. And this lotus is pollinated by beetles, which link it to Khepri, the beetle god of the dawn. In hymns intended to be sung at dawn, the sun god Re is a child of gold who issues forth from the lotus.
So Ra comes out, the sun god, because Kamala means lotus flower. That's the period I believe we're in. And the question is, what is this lotus flower, Kamala? I'm not saying it's the president or vice president Kamala. I'm just saying symbolic of the moment that we're in. What will this sun god that's coming out of the lotus flower do? That's the question. Now check this out. Snoop Dogg time.
Walker, talking of walking around, especially holding a torch, there's one really renowned rapper getting involved. Tell us more.
That's right. He's been making all the headlines, I think, today. It's been announced that Snoop Dogg, American rapper Snoop Dogg, will be carrying the Olympic torch through the streets of Saint-Denis, just north of Paris, on Friday. Saint-Denis, that is home to the Stade de France, which will be hosting events. Of course, the choice seems to be a nod to the next host city after Paris, because Snoop Dogg was born in Los Angeles, which will be hosting the games in 2028. The American will be joined by French actress Laetitia Casta and French rapper MC Solar. Saint-Denis is the penultimate leg of the Flames' journey before the relay aims at the Eiffel Tower, of course, during that highly anticipated
So Snoop Dogg, I want to look something up because I want to show you guys something. I had a picture of Snoop Dogg in my list. Snoop Dogg has the same birth date as Kamala Harris. Can you believe that? And I want to speak on that. Snoop Dogg was being interviewed by Larry King, and I might have to go straight to that to pull up that picture because I want to make a point. So let me just do that right about now. Okay, let me do that here. Snoop Dogg being interviewed by Larry King. They were at, I know it when I see it. He had several interviews. Not sure if I can get to the one I want though. There is a Snoop Dogg video. I have a photograph of Snoop Dogg. He was interviewed by Larry King back in the day. And he had on a certain glasses, y'all. And ever since he had those particular glasses on, it's been making me think. I might have to wait because I don't see it here. I might want to put it in specifically. So let's just do this. With B glasses. With B glasses. Maybe that would do it. Let me see. Probably not. I'm gonna have to find that. All right, I'm gonna have to present it later. So let's go with this here. We got, we have Snoop Dogg literally has the same birthday as Kamala Harris. But look here, before I do that, there's an ad out urging President Biden to pass the torch. And that's what I'm getting at. Snoop Dogg is going to be at the Olympics, right? He's going to be at these Olympics. Literally. He is going to be, Snoop Dogg is going to carry the torch at the Olympics, at the Eiffel Tower. That's going to be this Friday, people. All right? And look, ad urging President Biden to pass the torch to who? Kamala. And that was put out on the 19th. Now, what's my point? Well, here we go. Joe Biden was born November 20th, 1942. Snoop Dogg is born October 20th, 1971. Kamala was born 7 years before him, October 20th, 1964. Because they both had the same birthday, October 20th, her and Snoop Dogg. And he's going to be carrying the torch in a few days. You think that's coincidence? That he's carrying the torch in a few days? And an article just came out about President Biden passing the torch to Kamala? I just want you to think. That's all I want you to do. I want you to think. Now check this out.
Be performing at this Olympics opening ceremony. Well, that's what everyone's talking about after the two stars were spotted in Paris this week. Now, I'll get to that a little more in a moment, but there are other preps underway too.
Today, a new venue unveiled for Olympic sport beach volleyball with the iconic Eiffel Tower overlooking the stands and the sand.
This as the gates along the Seine are now being put into place ahead of the opening ceremony, which will be hosted along the river.
Paris is not immune to the threat of terrorism.
Paul Benvie, the Deputy Olympic Security Coordinator, says they've been working with French authorities for 2 years as they prepare for any threats. This as 300,000 people are expected to attend the opening ceremony.
We have full faith and confidence that the plan the French are putting into place will account for all eventualities.
The Olympic torch inching closer, arriving today just south of Paris. And hip-hop icon Snoop Dogg will continue that journey. He was an
Snoop Dogg will continue that journey, passing the torch. Same birthday as Kamala Harris. Is that coincidence? And she's getting the torch passed to her through Biden. What I want to think about is this. This Eiffel Tower, people, it hit me big time. It hit me big time. Let me show you why. I did a live video the other day. I Pet Go 3. In that, I brought up a few things, how a guy was shooting with an arrow a bird, which to me was America, and also cutting off the head of the bull in front of the New York Stock Exchange. I'm not sure if I showed that one part in the video, but in that I Pet Go 3, there is a Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower is, of course, over there where Snoop Dogg is going to be. Now, Snoop Dogg also was in the halftime parade I brought up earlier. The halftime festivities for the Super Bowl commercial back in the day. What's that? LV5, I forgot. Super Bowl, LV5. You got to remember, in I Pet Go 2, there is a symbol of a lady, which I'll have to show you. She's holding her child when something goes bad. He's dead. And it looks like the Super Bowl emblem. Okay, well, I digress. Here's my point. Here's the sun god Ra. I'm asking myself, what is the sun god Ra going to do? What is the sun god Ra going to do? This is I Pet Go 3. Is the sun god Ra, who comes out of the lotus flower, and Kamala's name, Kamala means sun, means lotus flower. I'm not saying Kamala is a part of a problem to make a problem in the future. I'm just saying, look at the coincidence. Her name is Kamala, means lotus flower. Out of the lotus flower comes the sun god Ra. Because we're living in that time, I want you to see something. At the 29-second mark, here's the sun god. And then lo and behold, at the 32 mark, what happens? There's the Eiffel Tower in the video of I Pet Goat 3. Did you see that? There's some other things going on in this film, but I'm not gonna get into it. But look at that. There's the Eiffel Tower. Now watch this. As I go, something hits it. See that thing there? There's something turning into a skeleton like death. Then two things come and they hit the Eiffel Tower. It's deep, y'all. Watch this. My mind went there today. Boom, knocks it off. Isn't that something? I Pet Goat 3. See? It hits it. So is something about to happen? Look at that. Look at that. Now here's the Eiffel Tower. The construction of the Eiffel Tower was January 28th of 1887, completed March 31st, 1889. It opened up May 15th of 1889. Let's look at these dates. This is deep. Well, first of all, let's look at the measurements. The current height is 1,083 feet. with the antenna is 1,024. Total feet is 410. Let's look at some of these measurements. Here's your feet again, 1083. If you take 1083 divided by 45, and Trump is the 45th president, you get 24. What does 24 mean? I keep telling you guys, keep informing you. 24, 24th letter of the alphabet is X. Wow. Then the length is 410. 410 divided by 45 gives you 911. When I was doing my math, 911 came up again in some dates. Will something happen? 410 in length divided by 45 gives you 911. 1083 divided by 45 gives you 24. Look, 1083, 410. 1083, 1083, 410. Those are my receipts. What do you think, people? Now check this out. On 7/26, this is when Snoop Dogg is going to carry that torch. January 28th, that is that's the beginning date when they started breaking ground on the Eiffel Tower. It was January 20th of 1887. If you take January 28th of 2025, that'll be the anniversary when they broke ground. Subtract that from the date that Snoop Dogg is going to carry the torch. The difference is 6 months and 2 days. Who's 62 years old? Barack Obama. Now check this out. Snoop Dogg and Carmela are both born October 20th. Subtracted from 7/26. And 7/26, where do we get that from? Friday. Oh, that's the day they carried the torch. So their birthdays, 10/20, subtracted from July 26th, the day that they carried the torch, that Snoop Dogg carries the torch. The difference is 2 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. When you go backwards, that's 322, skull and bones. Just asking. I think that's all I have. 7/26, is that anywhere? 331. Well, here's another one. 331 versus, okay, so 7/26, the day that Snoop Dogg carries the torch, versus 331. That's when the Eiffel Tower was completed on 331. So the anniversary of 2026, that is exactly, what do I have down here? Oh, 614 days, which is really June 14th. When you think of it like that, June 14th is Trump's birthday. So again, the day that Snoop Dogg carries the torch on 7/26 of 2024, and then we leapfrog, about 23 months later, on 3/31 of 2026, that's the day construction started, 3/31. There it is, 3/31, 1889. The difference would be 614 days, and June 14th is when Trump was born. People, I tell you, these are fascinating times. Go back and watch iPet Goat 2 and iPet Goat 3. Matter of fact, I won't waste my time in it, but it's a long video. But yeah, Carmela Harris has a lot to overcome in the black community and in any community in terms of how she had her policies back in the day. I want to be fair. She did some good things, but again, she had the highest conviction rate for marijuana. A lot of black folks said that she built her career on locking up black folks, and she was with and is with a president who had the 3-strike clause. 3 strikes, you in jail. Some folks had only five ounces of whatever cocaine or marijuana and spent 8 to maybe 20 some years in prison. How do you feel about that? And then you got the Snoop Dogg thing, and guess what? I found that Larry King, when Snoop Dogg interviewed with him, notice the B, Masonic B. Wow, isn't that something? I'm French Shot Pearson. You think this thing is interesting, makes you think? Hey, thumbs up, share it. I pray that nothing goes down with this Eiffel Tower. But hey, it's in that I Pet GOAT. God bless America and God bless the world. Be careful if you're going to those Olympics. God bless.